So JuJu Watkins has had her first college game, and I'll say it, like, there were a lot of positives, a couple of negatives, but it's like, look, at the end of the day, um, they won the game. I was kind of disappointed. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough whether or not it's a case of Ole Miss being way better than expected, or whether USC maybe aren't gonna, maybe not deserving to be the third ranked team in the nation, because I didn't think they looked great. Like, every single thing that they got down the stretch was from the free throw line. And if you want to look at the box score of this game, like, Ole Miss, in fairness to Ole Miss, they worked their ass off. They were big. They were like, well, other than Todd Williams, 2 of 18 from the field, and she got swatted by JuJu Watkins in one of the most important possessions of the game. They just worked hard. They managed to turn over so many times. They turned USC over so many times. Shot 71% from the line, but like, they shot 29% from the field, and we're in this game with them shooting 40% from the field. USC, horrific from 3. And that is the one problem when it comes to JuJu Watkins, is she is not a good 3-point shooter. Like, she's just not. Like, everybody talking about her ability to score from everywhere. She's not a good 3-point shooter. She shot like 30% last year. She's not a good 3 shooter, but she can do everything else in offense. But I was very, very impressed by Kiki Iriafen today. Like, I'm somebody that is, like, Kiki Iriafen's probably going to be the number 2 pick in the W draft. But I'm, like, not 100% certain on that because of what I felt like was an inability to shoot. But the turnaround mid-range, the long twos, the jumpers looking better. No, I thought she looked really, really, really good today. But JuJu Watkins, it was just an anomaly statistics-wise, including the 9 turnovers. But at the end of the day, when you win the game, who cares? Like, we've watched enough Caitlin Clark to know, if you're a primary ball handler, like, she's going to average quite a lot of turnovers anyway. If you have an occasional 9 turnover game, like, if the 9 turnover games become common, if more assist and turnover games become common for her, that's when it's like, oh, maybe that's not the greatest thing. But I don't think that's going to become a common scenario. I think she's probably, like, she's not the playmaker of a Caitlin Clark, but, like, she can flat out score. Like, if you're looking here, 27 points, 10 boards, 4 assists, 5 blocks, 4 steals. Like, she was 1 assist and 1 steal off of 5x5 in her first game. And the fact is, there are still some people kind of scrutinizing that. It just shows, again, the level that JuJu Watkins is at, because you can have a historically great game and it still doesn't really matter to some fans, because they'll say but turnovers. But at the end of the day, on the offensive end, I didn't think she had the greatest second half from what I saw. Again, I couldn't watch the full game. I watched as much of what I could. I watched as much as what I could find on YouTube, but she did come up with a huge block down the stretch. And look, at the end of the day, this is her first game of her sophomore year, her first game with Kiki Iriafen. And even if the USC Trojans aren't as good as expected, she's still got 2 more years of college. And she is now at the level where it's her and Paige Bueckers are going to be scrutinized every single time they don't put up a perfect game. Like, they are going to be looked at, like, people are going to look at them and expect them to be, like, they are expected to be at Caitlin Clark level. And that's just the reality of the situation. They are expected to be at Caitlin Clark level because people online have said they are Caitlin Clark level. So that's how they're going to be judged. But she was unbelievable. She was unbelievable. Like, you can see how she scores, like, Euro step and 1. And again, like, that's not an easy thing. Like, when someone flops like that, it's not easy, 1, to not elbow them in the face and then to finish on the flop. Like, there's no that's very good call. There's no way it's a charge. She's running down the floor. She's 6'2". She can handle. Her ability to finish on the inside is incredible. It's just the 3 ball is not quite there yet. Everything is kind of just smooth. Just smooth, like. Her whole game is smooth. She's got that pull-up. She can attack right hand. She can attack left. She can pull up from the mid. She can go either way. Like, she can score in the post if she needs to. And, like, that's what you get from this, like, 6'2". Like, she is the most well-rounded scorer we have seen. And I'm not going to say the best scorer, because Caitlin Clark scores more, a lot of the time will score as many points on fewer shots. She's not as efficient as Caitlin Clark. She's not as efficient as Paige, but Paige isn't as good a scorer in isolation as JuJu, but like she has as much of a quote unquote bag as we've seen in the women's game. Like she's like a much better version of a Ryan Howard. You're seeing there, she's able to run the floor, she's athletic, but those step throughs, like everything, she has no flaws. She has no flaws to her offensive game. And on the defensive end, like it's not like she's gonna go and lock somebody down. It's not like that's what JuJu's gonna do. But she's not a bad defender. And again, 5 blocks, 4 steals is impressive. That's impressive. No matter how you look at it, that is impressive. So yeah, I gotta give credit where credit's due to JuJu Watkins, because you're in Paris. Like that also has to be taken into account. You're on the other side of the world to play a game. It's empty. Like you're going to be playing in full crowds the entire year. You're JuJu Watkins. You're playing in an empty arena in Paris for your first game, and you come out with a game like this. Could she have shot a bit better from the floor? Sure. Could she have been a bit more efficient with the ball in her hands? Sure. But at the same time, well, it says here, 3 steals. At the same time, she's a sophomore, and it's her first game as a sophomore. So I think it's going to go down to Paige v. JuJu for National Player of the Year, unless, of course, there is a player that just has a ridiculously good run. Like, I don't know, if there's a player playing for a number 10 ranked team that just averages 30, if someone goes on a Kelsey Plum year or something, but I don't think someone's going to do that. Maybe you could see a Lucy Olsen year. It's unlikely. It's really unlikely with Lucy Olsen. She doesn't shoot the 3-ball well enough. But it's almost certainly going to go to one of those two. So it's going to be a very, very interesting year to see what happens between the two of these players, because they have similarities in their game. They're a lot more similar than either of them are to a Caitlin Clark, but they're the big three. They are the big three, the best players in college basketball. And look, I get it. There's a rivalry with Angel Reese, but like, look, we got to be honest. Like, Paige Bueckers is better than Cameron Brink. They're both better than what Cameron Brink were. And then you've also now got those. They're the big three. And first, like Hannah Hidalgo, as good as she is, she'll never be as popular as any of those players, because I'm not even going to get started on some of the Hannah Hidalgo stuff. Basically, if Hannah Hidalgo looked like Caitlin Clark, she would have been cancelled already. That's all I'm going to say. And then the likes of Sonia Citron, Olivia Miles, I think the three of them none of them are going to be in that Player of the Year conversation, because they're all in that kind of loaded backcourt. But Kiki Iriafen and JuJu are probably going to be the best 1-2 duo in college basketball. The unfortunate thing is that USC did not look that good. Unless Ole Miss are just one of the best teams, are going to end up as one of the best teams in the country, it did not look as good as they looked in the first half. They got lucky to have been on the line as much as they were, and in their defense, they made all their free throws. So I'd be a little bit concerned for USC short term. At the end of the day, losing 1 or 2 games, you don't have to go undefeated. Like, South Carolina made that a thing, but like, you don't have to go undefeated. They lose a couple of games here and there, it doesn't really matter. But they pulled it off, even though JuJu did not have the greatest second half. She had a couple of great defensive possessions down the stretch, made a couple of buckets to give them a lead down the stretch, and obviously the rest of them they all made their free throws. So yeah, that is the first game of JuJu, and was very, very impressed by her. It's going to be interesting to see. I think, is it December when they play Paige Bueckers? That game is going to be the most viewed college game this year outside of the tournament, men's or women's. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.